But let me say very emphatically, I need your help on Tuesday, and if you give us the help that I know you will, it'll be a tremendous impact throughout the country. I won't let Michigan down. Don't you let me down on November 2nd or next Tuesday.
I'm going to get shoved right over in somebody's head.
I know!
How are you? Nice to see you. Howdy, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? National interest, but I do not believe it's in our national interest to discuss how or when they would be used. Under the circumstances...
You're flatly not ruling it out, though.
I'm not either confirming it or denying it. I'm saying we have the forces, and they'll be used in our national interest as they should be. Mr. Plessico.
Mr. President, your old sidekick, the former Secretary of Defense, Melvin Laird, has written in a magazine article that the Russians have repeatedly violated the SALT agreement and have mocked détente. And he also had some things to say about what they're doing in Portugal and the Middle East. How concerned are you about these charges?
I have investigated the allegations that the Soviet Union has violated the SALT agreements, that they have used loopholes to do certain things that were intended not to be done under the agreement. I have found that they have not violated the SALT agreement. They have not used any loopholes. And in order to determine whether they have or they haven't, there is a standing consultative group that is an organization for the purpose of deciding after investigation whether there have been any violations, and that group, after looking into the allegations, came to the conclusion there had been no violations. Now, as I indicated in Brussels at a press conference, we are concerned about developments in Portugal. We do not believe that a communist-dominated government in Portugal is compatible with NATO. Now, it hasn't reached that stage yet, and we are hopeful that it will not, and some of the developments in the last several days are somewhat encouraging. We certainly have a concern and a care and a great friendship for the Portuguese people, and we'll do what we can in a legitimate, proper way to make sure that the rights of the Portuguese people are protected.
President of the United States, pursuant to the pardon power conferred upon me by Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, have granted, and by these presents do grant, a full, free, and absolute pardon unto Richard Nixon for all offenses against the United States which he, Richard Nixon, has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from July 20, 1969 through August 9, 1974.
1976 was the bicentennial of America. There was a feeling around the bicentennial that we're going to pull together again as Americans. Something new was in the air.
The 76 election was the first national election after Watergate.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Watergate was probably the overriding issue of that campaign.
You know, we wanted to recover from Vietnam and the assassinations and Watergate. We needed candidates who could reassure us that that would in fact be the case.
We must have the will to resolve those problems.
And we ended up with two candidates who did precisely that.
I think the country is looking for something that's absolutely decent, absolutely clean.
In 1976, the reason Jimmy Carter could be a candidate for president was because of Watergate and Vietnam.
I believe the Republican Party has a platform that is a banner of bold, unmistakable colors with no pale pastel shade.
It gives you the emergence of Ronald Reagan almost unseating a sitting Republican president.
You had Gerald Ford, an appointed president, who had pardoned Richard Nixon. It really looked like this was a time for change, which meant that the Republicans were not going to win the White House.
The whole world was watching. Will our democracy hold up? Will things collapse? Is this going to work?
Funding is provided by the Joseph and Robert Cornell Memorial Foundation, Joseph Erdman Trustee, and by Harlan Crow. Additional support was provided by the following.
Trust is not cleverly shading words so that each separate audience can hear what it wants to hear. It's not enough for anyone to say, "Trust me." Trust must be earned.
Spiro Agnew, the sitting vice president under Nixon, was busted on bribery charges and was forced to resign the vice presidency.
I categorically and flatly deny the assertions that have been made by the prosecutors with regard to their contention of bribery and extortion on my part.
Richard Nixon very shrewdly turned to Gerald Ford, who could object.
Gerald Ford was just the right choice at the right moment. Ford was a genial guy who was well-liked on both sides of the aisle. He was a regular guy. People could relate to him.
Watergate was unfolding on a daily basis. The pressure got more and more against Nixon, and the tapes were being revealed.
To continue to fight through the months ahead for my personal vindication would almost totally absorb the time and attention of both the President and the Congress. Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Dad got the call, was told that the president was going to resign and that he needed to be prepared to take the oath of office and move forward.
I, Gerald R. Ford, do solemnly swear
That I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of
He understood with this opportunity forced upon him that he had to step up to the plate and do the best job that he could.
My fellow Americans, our long national nightmare is over. Our Constitution works. Our great republic is a government of laws and not of men. I believe that truth is the glue that holds government together. Even though this is late in an election year, there is no way we can go forward except together.